Welcome to the Mad Hatter podcast. Today, we've got the Holy Smokes Las Vegas out here. We've got Shauna and Tony. They are the presidents, CEOs. What is the proper title?
Executive Director and Director.
Beautiful. Executive Directives here. And so from my understanding from the last couple times we've talked, you guys have been getting out there even in the rain and the floods.
Yeah, I can't. I won't take credit for that.
So hold on. Hold on. Before we get too excited, for everybody jumping on in, these guys go down low and they help the homeless community. They feed them. They bring them things. And so
hook them up with IDs, hook them up with whatever they need, mail, all that kind of thing.
So we've had previous podcasts if you want to know more about that. So we're just going to dive into how it's been going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's been going good. And yeah, we did recently just go into tunnels that were like super flooded. So what was it?
Where does it flood the most down there?
Well, I think so there's one tunnel that runs under the Virgin Hotel. And I can't really tell where the water comes from, but whatever their route is, they got all the water from like these from the wildfires and the storm that happened like 2 days before.
Yeah, it was like ash-filled water.
Yeah, it was ash-filled water.
Yeah.
It was like smoky. Like it smelled like wildfire smoke.
Well, wasn't there a fire right on the strip? like two of them, not right on the strip, but behind the strip.
There was.
Is that what you guys got on it? Like
no,
the residuals from that?
There was like a big wildfire near the
in Mojave.
the
Mojave
SoCal.
Desert.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rained
if
ash all around different parts of town. Mm-hmm. Of course, downtown we never get hit by anything. We have no weather here, so we have this little bubble of solitude and peace. Yeah, but other
so
parts
you guys
of town,
know how the tunnel started, right?
Oh yeah. So basically, Las Vegas is very prone to flash floods, like just monsoons. So it'll be clear, and then all of a sudden these big clouds form, and it's raining hard straight up for like 10 minutes. And then the soil in the Las Vegas desert, it's called petrichor, right? Petrichor.
Or no, that petrichor is the scent of wind.
No, not petrichor. Yeah. It's called some core, isn't it? I forgot the term for it, but it's this really hard.
It seems like rock. You're like, what are these giant boulders? What are these rocks? It's like that's not rocks. That's
it's like the
chunks
dirt
of it's like a clay. It's a really intensely solidified clay.
Yeah.
But then so it doesn't let the water absorb into the dirt.
It doesn't absorb at all.
Well,
so basically all the water sits up. And then the city was flooding a lot. Maybe,
the legend that I've heard is that Bugsy Siegel looked out at the desert and he saw an oasis. And he said, right there, that's where we're going to build it all. Mm-hmm. And
he was right
the reason there was a oasis there is because that's the focal point of all moisture for the entire valley. And so
early decided to start building
early iterations of the.
So we got a good water supply, but like the water cannot be absorbed. So to deal with all these flash floods, they built there's thousands of miles of tunnels, literally all under the city, everywhere. We only go to like 4 of them, but they're all over the place, you know.
Well, there's a lot of them that you can't even get to anymore, or they're just deserted or forgot. They're the Riviera, for example. I imagine it had tunnels, but then it got exploded and it's not there anymore. I think that's just an empty piece of land.
So there's
the land may not be used, but the tunnels, they don't destroy the tunnels. Like once they're made, they're like made.
Tunnels, and they call them washes, which are just open tunnels. Those are like strategically placed all throughout the city, and we don't even notice them. They hide them from the eye line. It's really clever how they do it. Like we've been
just like
given,
on the Charleston
right
now, right?
It really blends in.
We've had special requests, because somebody changed their their location. And we'll hear about this, this wash or this tunnel by this, particular hotel or, grocery store or something. And we've been there 1,000 times. It's part of our daily commute. Never seen it. Boom, there it is. Mm-hmm. And there's, dozens of people down there and little community structures, infrastructure that they built.
Yeah.
What challenges do you face? Like, what are some unique challenges operating in tunnels like that?
Well, the first time going in flooded, it was actually intense because it is way different than when it's dry. The water really comes super fast. It super rushes at you. And then the tunnels are slippery,
Oh yeah.
So
there's an algae
water.
green slime material that grows, and it's you'll lose footing real quick.
So you get these rushing waters, and then you get this like
You have
slippery
boots
tunnel.
for that, then, right?
I had boots, but it really didn't make a difference. Like my feet were still soaked, you know, because it's like it was up to like mid calf, you know. Like I still have the water line on my jeans, actually. Like for real, you see that?
I do. Yeah,
that's how high the water was, you know. So yeah, no, we were all up in that, and it was like intense, you know.
That sounds gross.
It was like. It wasn't like I actually kind of like the scent because it was like wildfire smoke, you know. But what was weird though is that all that water didn't cool down the tunnel. It made it super hot. It was really hot in there, really humid,
jungly.
So it was hot, humid, and slippery.
Is that not normal? Is it normally cold down there?
Yeah,
in the summer, yeah.
Normally it's cool. You would think all the water would make it cooler, but like it didn't.
It was hot water filled with
like
wildfire ash.
Yeah. Think how much water. I mean, so I was kind of looking at this. Think how much water that was in the heat. And so normally where it's cooling on that surface, that's 100-degree water potentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's basically like a tea kettle down the.
Well, I mean, when it's 120 out, it's not
miles
unfathomable to think that the water might be 100 degrees.
That's smart. Yeah. And then people were like stationary mostly. People had like their stuff hunkered down. People weren't like leaving the tunnels. You know, it makes sense.
Just riding it out.
It makes sense to stay put. It's just too chaotic, you know. But if it gets like if the water gets too high, you obviously have to get out. But it was kind of just mid calf, you know. But
mid calf? That still sounds so scary.
And a lot of pressure. You know, a lot of weight behind a giant torrent of water. You know,
for real. Like
if you're down in the sewers, what could hit you?
If you misstep, you know. Like if the water gets if the water gets high enough and you misstep and you slip, you can literally get flooded away. I mean, you will literally get washed away.
And the surface is just this slimy, slick green goo that you can't get a grip on.
Yeah, and then the grab on. So yeah, that's like my first experience. Like, damn, I could really get washed away if I fucking like misstep and like someone doesn't grab me, bro.
Yeah, like how do you ensure your safety as well as like the safety of those you're trying to help when you're down there?
Yeah, I guess we don't.
You just walk safely.
No, no, I can't ensure.
I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't combat the forces of nature, man.
You can stay up on the dry part. You know, you don't have to go down into the crazy area.
Like people,
totally. You can hang out, talk with people. You know, smoke weed, fucking have snacks. You know, you don't have to go into the. I didn't do that. You did that. You and Paisley do that. Is more specific. Awesome. I was saying it's like this is something only girls will do. Like just out there like hitting that. No, me and
bringing food back and forth.
Me and Larry on dry land, keeping our shoes, looking nice.
Yeah, y'all got some nice shoes.
Did you put your hand up and be like, no, I'm not going. I'm not doing it.
Well, last Wednesday it was only me and Paisley, so it was like a side episode, you know. it's a Paisley and Shauna episode, you know.
Well, I think that ties in well then. What would you say is like the biggest misconception then that people have like of the homeless community in the tunnels? Like, would you even call them homeless? Because don't most of them have a home?
Right, and so some people like to use the term houseless. I find it ham-fisted and awkward to say houseless.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, but I'm in a box. For example, we are broadcasting from my house right now. We're in a box, and if their box, heaven forbid, is just as big as mine, damn it, because those tunnels are huge.
Or bigger.
Yeah. And sometimes better decorated.
Who's to say they're homeless? It's just alternative living?
No, I think, straight up, the biggest misconception is that, like, these spaces that they occupy aren't their homes, because they are. They live there, you know.
They live there. They're not homeless. They clearly have somewhere to go.
When there's the image of homeless encampments being evicted by police, and they're running through with backhoes and dumpsters, and they're just filling up the dumpster. The fact that people don't see that with the same kind of emotional response that one would say is if this was being done in a suburb, and homes were just being looted and destroyed and thrown into a dumpster. There would be this instinctive outrage, but there's this idea that homeless people don't have private property, that everything they own is garbage and debris.
Well, you are kind of on public property.
Sometimes they're on public, sometimes they're on private, sometimes they're trespassing. But it's.
Well, I mean, all of that's trespassing.
But you don't lose your property rights because you're on private property.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, when they
I still
is that just there's no way to defend yourself?
Like when they get forced to move, they don't have like 24 hours notice. They literally will tell you like you have like 5 minutes to take your stuff and go immediately, or we throw away everything.
There's
you know how much you'll be laying in the hot sun. It's 120 degrees. The cops roll up and be like, "Hey, you got 5 seconds to like get all your shit and go, or we're gonna throw it away." You know, and then you gotta deal with that like daily.
And when this happens, like for a lot of people, like the biggest obstacle of getting out has to do with navigating the bureaucracy. And so when they clean out these
people
areas,
get their IDs
quote
thrown
unquote,
away,
clean out,
or
they get
their
their IDs,
money,
their paperwork,
their
their medical
wallets.
records, like all the things, like, especially when
things
people
you need, and your ID is huge.
Yeah.
Well, like there was a guy recently, he died of cancer after living out his last days in the tunnels. And, he had a lot of bureaucracy to navigate. That's much more difficult. In Nevada, if you're living in a home and you get sick, there are a lot of great hospice services, you're not left to die. But if you happen to already be homeless, if you have a difficulty getting your ID, especially after COVID, trying to navigate the Byzantine structure of the DMV is that's hard enough if you already have every advantage, going for you. So for these folks, every time they get flooded out or the police raid and steal all their stuff and throw it in a dumpster, it keeps them on the streets. It promotes homelessness. All this police action promotes homelessness because homelessness is not a legal problem. It's a mental health problem. It's a public health problem. It's an economic problem.
Failure,
it's an economic problem. So when you're using cops to solve economic and public health problems, and we're also practicing like denying a certain portion of the population private property rights. There are names for a police state that denies private property rights. And it's not flattering. There are no good names for that. I'm not the type of person to just call everything I don't like communism, but there are some things that line up in definition there.
I feel that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Okay, so with that though, the biggest thing that I caught is the IDs. Is there any way that you could, or do you already, like, how can you create a support system? Because you guys are down there, you visit them. I feel like some you see every week probably.
Yeah.
Like, how could you even collaborate with them to help get their IDs?
Sometimes it's as simple as making an appointment and then driving there. And when for those that we're able to do that for, we might have to do that repeatily. And we have done it repeatedly. And we have done it repeatedly for folks. But a lot of folks have like some kind of snafu in their paperwork. Like the last legal ID they had was in Georgia or someplace. And there are just all these difficulties with that. In the course of doing this work and talking about this issue, I've heard from people that have lived here their whole lives talk about, I had this roommate, he lost his ID, it just got stolen from him, and because of he was born here and everything, and still his life got turned around because he couldn't get an ID reissued. That was before COVID, and for a person who lived in a home and was born here. For anyone else, this can be an insurmountable problem. We try our best. Sometimes I hope when we get people hooked up with rehab services and things like that, when people ask us about getting into rehab, we don't push it, promote it, or anything like that. But if we're asked, we'll provide it.
Oh, you can only push it so much, I imagine. Right?
Yeah, they hear we're going into their homes. It's like, how's somebody going to come into your home and start judging you for how you live? It's a totally inappropriate thing to bring up. In someone's living room.
On the first go, it's something you gotta come to it as a friend. That's about it.
Yeah, actually recognizing it is their home. They have private property rights. You have to respect their domain as much as you expect respect in your own domain.
Okay, yeah. So that for me, that's why it's always the hardest. Why I haven't gone down there. Where I would want to bring a gun for my own protection down there. But then if you have to bring a gun and you're entering their home, well, then now you probably shouldn't be there, right? So it's hard for me to try and justify well, I don't feel safe going down there. Well, I appreciate what you guys do, and I think it's so cool. I wouldn't feel safe going down there without armed protection. And then I can't justify to myself going down and potentially shooting someone in their house if they decide to act out because I'm visiting. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, are you visiting like if you're invited, but see, the thing is, there's no doors. There's no
Yeah, so
placard.
who's to say
So how
that
do you know
one
when
person's
you-
going to be good with me there and the next
Right.
is going to be like, oh, no.
Well, no, these communities have their own territories
Yeah.
figured out. You know, a person will be like this, you know.
So not like
Yeah.
gangs, but I mean,
It's
supposedly
like- No, like
it's like
neighbors,
they,
you know, like-
trust
like
us, so we
community.
have
You,
like a
you know,
level
you have a
of,
neighbor here. If I just
yeah.
because I'm hanging out here doesn't mean I can go walk up into their house.
Mhm.
But it's clearly indicated to me where these lines
right,
are.
this is mine
Yeah.
and that's theirs.
You know, and
Mhm.
for them it is you know, these might be invisible boundaries, but so are borders, and you know, we managed to deal with those.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I feel like to put it
it's
simply,
the
like
Westphalian system in play. You
Mhm.
know,
it's
basically.
like a vibe check, you know, because like they know us, so they're comfortable with us, so we are like responsible for, I don't know, appropriately bringing people in. But like we already have like this level of trust established, so they trust that we'll bring like good folks around, you know.
Mm.
Because like I've never.
Oh yeah, if you're with us,
Yeah.
then you know it's good.
Yeah, like it's never been like a time where we brought someone and they were like, and it was like hella stressful or anything, you know. It's only like you just come in normal. I don't know. I'm so used. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
it's just
no,
like
it's
you don't have to come with like this.
It's just like visiting
expectation.
any
Yeah.
friends, you know.
Yeah, you're like, hey, what's up? You know, it's us, and then we pass out food. We talk about like
But
stuff.
but the thing is that we've become acclimated to it. We've become
Mhm.
sophisticated to this,
Mhm.
and we had to become so. You know, we didn't start off that way.
Mhm.
You know, it's just, you know, we you know, and it's a really cool thing to learn, to be able to develop those instincts, those you know, just that understanding, and to be able to venture into different types of worlds, and you know, whether that's going to Thailand or if it's, you know,
Wait, you guys got to go to Thailand?
no, just
I wish.
changing cultures, you know. You know,
Yeah,
just,
I would like tell
know,
me more.
I mean, no, I haven't. That's why it sounds really exotic to me. But yeah, if you're suddenly in a new culture, a new area, can you adapt?
Mhm.
And that's all it's a matter of, because the people down there, I would actually say, are less prone to violence than people in the suburbs.
Yeah,
In the suburbs,
I go to the tunnels
You think
every
so?
day over the
Oh, yeah.
suburbs. Okay,
No.
The suburbs, are
you can get
from
shot
hell.
just for minding your own business by some
Mhm.
neighbor who felt threatened because you you know, did a U-turn in his cul-de-sac. You know, like these, you know, you get the cops called on you just for, you know, doing your job or hanging out. You know, just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
it's insane.
you
They're
know,
so antisocial.
And well, there's
man.
no cops. Okay, but so there's no cops down there, right? So it's the.
Oh no, the cops are down there
yeah.
all the
Down there?
fucking time
Yeah,
arresting
there was
people.
Are they?
Yeah, they
Oh,
arrest
yeah.
people, they throw them in jail, and like, you know.
I think a bunch of our friends got
Yeah.
rounded up and they all got put in jail for like 3 days. And they got
Yeah.
freaking robbed. They did civil forfeiture.
Yeah.
And took like $100 from like one of our friends down there.
Yeah.
For no, like these freaking cops make all
You have
this
no
money.
you have no right to
and they-
money, you have no right
they
to property.
take like your
the government
last
can
money,
just seize all your
throw
assets.
you in jail for 3
Wait,
days.
wait,
and
they're
then throw you
taking the
back out.
money?
They're taking the cash money,
Yeah.
and then civil
They take the
forfeiture
money from the people.
subsidizes police
kidding.
expenses. It subsidizes their salaries. You know,
Yeah.
people say like, "Oh, my taxes pay your salaries." No,
It's like,
homeless
oh,
people
civil
pay their
forfeiture,
salaries
bro.
through civil forfeiture.
What?
Oh, and every time they run the bulldozers through and they clean it up,
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
like
those are,
that's
to be
$40,000.
fair, that is expensive.
That's $40,000 right there. No, it's so. Clark County spends almost $80,000 a year per each homeless person. This accounts for, you know, rounding them up and putting them in cages, and also like
Throwing them back
wait,
out again.
emergency room visits. You know,
Wait, 80,000
$80,000 per person. Now, for $10,000, you can just buy an apartment at market rate outright, a nice apartment, you know, and for then you could still give them like another $1,000 a month. Still, you're only up to like $22,000 or something like that. Okay, so for less than half the money, homeless people could be living like spoiled, like trust fund kids, for less than half the money than we spend to have them be
Constantly
tormented.
abused
And then there's
like,
people who
thrown
go down there and they
chased
fuck with them, they
around.
throw shit at them, they light stuff on fire, you know, just like bullies and assholes, you know,
Yeah,
that
you
come down there and try
weird
to, yeah,
psychopaths, antisocial hoes.
David Cash Jr. motherfuckers. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the solutions to homelessness are easier than like what we're doing. What we're doing is just like it's regressive, it's barbaric, and it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
It doesn't
It's
help
just-
anybody.
it's
Like
just
nobody
stupid.
benefits from the way that they're doing it, and
Yeah.
everyone suffers
No.
from it. Yeah.
We're just constantly seeing like the state torture people who
Yeah.
like, you know, you're closer to being
And
homeless
it's supposed
than
to be
you
a
are to
place
being a
where, like, you know,
billionaire.
anything can happen, and we got all this wealth dripping, you know, in every
Mhm.
direction, and
We
we
got
do.
the F1.
We do. We got this wealth dripping all over, but we're not
Mhm.
doing
Not
the smart thing
sharing
with it.
equitably.
We're
and
running like a
equally.
social Darwinism kind of situation, whereas intelligent design is far preferable.
But I feel like Las Vegas really, of all the places, I feel like Las Vegas really has like the drive, or it can really do a lot, to like end homelessness. Because I feel like we have like really good rehabs, and there's like there's a lot of organizations.
Infrastructure here. Great infrastructure here.
And our rent is really cheap. I feel like there's like we have more of an incentive to solve homelessness because we're a tourist city. Like you.
And we can do anything. What's up?
You can't let like a skid row.
So would you give everybody
Vegas,
drugs like Oregon?
Was that? Well, see, Oregon.
No, like it's like
Oregon, you get the worst of both worlds. You get the worst of the left, and you get the worst of the right. Because
they decrim, but they didn't give them any support.
So the idea of decriminalization is that you address it as a public health issue, right? Yeah. So you got these people with this health problem. It's not a criminal problem; it's a health problem. Okay, so let's apply a medical solution to this, and this has worked time and time again in every country, as always expected. But in Portland, they didn't do that. They just they didn't treat it. They didn't treat it as a health problem. They didn't treat it as a public health problem. They just
they decrimmed, but they didn't
just did everything wrong. They did everything wrong, and it's
made it worse.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like it's so easy. I just feel like I could.
We have example after example all around the world.
Tomorrow,
Utah did solve homelessness, and then it got defunded
Houston,
because
Texas
they got called
too.
communist for it. It was called Housing First. Instead of instead of making people go through rehab, you just give them housing, and then after they've been in housing for a while, they they start to connect with their family. They go out and get jobs. They're not using drugs without having to go to rehab. They stop using drugs because their lives are not just filled with pain. That's people. Anyone will do drugs under sufficient amounts of pain, and being homeless will provide that. So a lot of people don't have this biological disposition towards addiction. They're just constantly held in pain. So of course they're doing drugs. You just take away the pain, they stop doing the drugs. And then that problem solved. You don't have to pay for, rehab facilities, you just give them a goddamn house, and then you don't have to pay for rehab. You don't have to pay for emergency medical treatment. They'll go out and get jobs on their own. This was proven. It solved homelessness by 95% in Utah.
Yeah, I looked it up. Well, 90%. I looked it up. 90%, which is still insanely
that's great.
I'm looking it up right now.
It got defunded instead of the police because we need the police to go out there and steal their shit in order to keep something going.
Yeah, they're trying because I'm reading a paper on it right now. How the boards were suggesting that they were reduced, but it wasn't. They didn't see the same rate of reduction. Well, of course not. When you reduce it by 90%, the hell?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was
that's how much more do you plan?
And this is the problem with government and bureaucracy is it's programmed like an idiot machine, like a really bad Chat GPT or something, where it doesn't quite get it, and it just goes after some kind of paperclip maximalization, and it's like, well, we don't keep seeing the continuous gains because failed programs in the past could always show a lot of improvement when you've gone from 5 to 10 people.
It's like this infinite,
right? Yeah, there was definitely.
But when you just eliminated the problem overnight, basically, and then you can start to address these very mistaken, kinds of questions people ask, like, oh, don't some people want to be down there? Maybe 1 in every 10,000 or 1 in every million person. And in a large nation, you're going to have some people that actually, for some reason, prefer that. But that's not the issue. That's not the phenomenon as we see it. That's not. It's not just a bunch of backpackers and
hitchhikers.
Okay, so that brings me to a good question.
Although harmonicas, have you ever played a harmonica? That shit is fun as fuck.
That is pretty fun.
That's can of beans. Yeah. Sorry.
It's good you guys can't hear. Never mind. Just know there's sounds playing in the background that you can't hear.
Is it fart sounds for saying a can of beans?
So, that being said, back into what we were talking, I thought it fit in well. What would, do you have, a success story, a moment that deeply, moved you guys, or you'll always remember it, be like, yeah, that was worth doing this shit?
Oh yeah, all the time. This is just this last week.
Every time,
Yeah.
But yeah, this last
protecting
week
privacy, not to indicate the gender of the person or location or anything. We had no idea who this person was, but they knew who we were. They made contact with us just by Googling the name, and we set them up.
Us up.
Yeah. took them, you know, like, so, yeah, took, you know, they're inside right now. They're in a rehab and set to get free housing at the end of completion of the rehab
Wait.
program.
So you guys help somebody get full housing?
That's what,
Yeah, that's the way
as
the
long as they, you know,
program goes. As
run
long
through
as
the program. Yeah.
As long as they stay with the program.
Which we've done before. You know, our administrator for the organization, she did like a 6-month program. Now she has a free
She lived in the
apartment.
tunnels for like 6 years, and she got into an apartment, and then she actually went back in the tunnels, but then they got her another apartment.
Yeah.
So they were like double dedicated.
They're
you know?
on it. You know,
Yeah, they like keep track of you and everything. Now she's like housed, and she actually like holds our overflow stuff. You know, which is really nice.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
And then there's just like, you know, in the course of things, like, you know, sometimes, you know, show up and like maybe at a new territory or something like that, like a new park that we visit. I remember when we first started hitting it, it was sometimes we show up, things were tense. There was just like people were ready to fight over, you know, nothing, you know, or girls or disrespect or something like that. But then we show up and the food makes everything cool. Now we keep showing up. We don't even see this tense environment around there. And a coworker of mine, when I was talking about hitting this particular park, he was like, "Oh, that park? Oh, there were like 2 people stabbed there last month." It's like, oh. Anyway, you know,
but if you're hot and hungry, you're much more likely to fight. Or if you're just hot,
straight up,
these temperatures make you angry. It make me angry, man.
I mean, we only get so much food, but when it comes to these like 120 degree days out here, every day.
Are you guys bringing them ice?
Oh yeah, ice. Every time I like step out the door on my way to work, on my way back from work, because it's even if it's like, you know, 12:30 at night, it's still 110 degrees
right
so
now. There's no bad time to get ice.
You know, Smith's got it for like, you know, real cheap, you know, just, you know, load up, you know, $10, you can just fill the back of the car with ice for $10. That's just kind of cool and fun and weird. It's like people look at you like, you know, pushing a cart full of ice. They're like, "Oh, you having a party?" It's like, you know, it's
I'm having an underground party.
It's an icebreaker, you know, it's a conversation starter. And and just like pass out the ice, and it really feels like, this is reducing the amount of
like heat exhaustion,
everything bad in
stress,
the world, you know? Yeah. And it's a simple thing to do. If the great vision I have for that is just do it in your neighborhood. If everybody just did that in their neighborhood, if everybody upon seeing distressed bodies baking in the sun and a big pile of ice right fucking there, walked over and grabbed some of that ice and then gave it to those baked bodies because you have paper in your pocket and they don't. Then you know, it's like seriously like $5. Well,
that was
maybe not some of these stores.
How do you distribute ice?
I mean, we do it pretty quick. Yeah, just grab it and go. You know, we also have like these coolers. These
do they give people an entire bag? I mean,
it's
like giving somebody $1. It's not even a big deal, right?
Yeah, just a big old bag.
And
a lot of people have like
some
coolers.
of the red cups, you know, some red cups so they can like break it up and share it and like, you know, drink it and like, you know, manage it. You know,
people got like coolers and buckets and stuff and way to keep it cool on them.
Yeah, a lot of folks do got coolers.
People already
lug
got
a dry
like,
cooler around on the hopes that, you know, they're not looking for us. They're hoping that somehow they can get some ice. So they got this cooler like it's the fucking secret. You know, they're trying to manifest it.
That makes
sense,
baby,
though. Here we go. You know,
I'm ready for it. Put it in here.
You know.
Yeah.
Would you say that's like a lesson learned? Like, what experience has taught you about like this to do that better? What are the words I'm looking for? Like, what are the lessons learned along the way?
How do we improve
from like your first time to now? No, I mean like we can get to how to improve later, but like what are the lessons that you learned where you're like, oh, I don't do this dumbass mistake anymore. I can have more, do more. Like think of like your first couple outings where you're like, can't believe how stupid. And now you like, you know, experiences taught you more about the community.
Well, see, we got
how to interact.
We're not the first generation of Holy Smoke, so we got.
And I've been doing this for a few years. So.
Mentors.
Yeah. And so we got spared those kinds of errors. They would be great people to ask that question to. We should get Doc on board. Yeah.
The first group was the one that they did all the trial and error because they built the foundation, you know. So we really inherited this charity already built up, you know. Instagram is well established. They did like hella stuff, you know. They got our name out to like hella people, you know. So we have like a good foundation. So we're just kind of like we have the torch passed on to us, you know. and we're doing good. I think like
Well,
the most,
that sounds
the
like
most
we're expanding our
cheating.
territory.
yeah,
You know,
the most exciting thing about our charity right now is like we have a good solid team. We have a good board of directors. We're always collaborating.
we're hitting more people up. Oh, we're collaborating with
other charities.
UNI Cares is UNI Cares project is providing us with a lot of food.
Because they get Pizza Hut like 4 days a week. So
Yeah.
we've been passing that out. And another charity, they go
People
out
love
to
that
this one
stuffed crust,
tunnel
you know.
on Sundays. They're called The Promise. So they're doing really good. They're a charity that like sprung off of our charity. They were a couple college students, and their names are Mike and Diane, but they were a couple college students. And last year, our mission, we had a university professor from UNLV reach out. He was like a sociologist or a psychology professor or something. And he wanted his class.
Some smart man.
Yeah, he wanted his class to like understand like, like people who live down there, like the conditions and stuff. So we had like a couple
Wait. He brought his class down?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was like 30, 40 people. It was,
Really, like,
it was
to show like
that's
mental
a
and
mistake.
emotional
That's a
health?
mistake.
Yeah, one of them I missed, but one of them had
That
like way
sounds
too many
dangerous,
people.
you guys.
And rude to just show up with a giant crowd. Okay, so that's an answer to your question. That was a mistake. It was what did they call that? Like the folly of success or something like that.
Yeah, but then you're on a microscope and being
an error of abundance.
the lesson learned.
That's a
suddenly
good
had
lesson
too many
learned.
volunteers.
We
Yeah.
do know like the optimal volunteer number to
Yeah.
not like overwhelm people and to not also like make the mission too complicated.
Mhm.
Like I say 2,
Say
you can get
4?
it done. 3 is the magic number. 4 is good.
Mhm.
I would say like
Any more than
3
that,
is the magic
yeah.
number, though.
3 is always
any
a
more
good
than that, you just
number.
got people hanging out. You
Yeah.
know?
Which is always good for the
Yeah.
vibes,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If the weather's nice, then
Mhm.
more people works.
Yeah.
Because people will break out like music instruments. We'll be chatting.
band sessions
We
and
won't
stuff.
like feel like leaving under this brutal heat. We're
Mhm.
duck and cover. They want to get back inside where it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they don't want to
You're
deal
not-
with that
Yeah.
shit either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not trying to make friends.
Wait,
Thanks for the
you
ice.
say get back inside, so you guys don't go very deep in.
Oh no, we go all the way through.
Yeah, we can go through.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this one spot
Like we're invited
called the
to
gallery.
like multiple
Yeah.
multiple tunnels. They know it, so I know
Yeah.
how to navigate it. I know where to go and
Yeah,
stuff.
there's this one spot called the gallery that's
Mhm.
deep. It's
It's
I
in
guess
the
underneath
Caesar's.
Caesar's Palace,
Mhm.
right? And it's where many tunnels converge, and it opens up into this ballroom,
Mhm.
and
All
there's all
this
these like
awesome
curious tunnels, yeah,
graffiti.
and that's where the most elite graffiti artists like
Mhm.
do their thing. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't even like follow what you think of as graffiti; it just looks like fine art,
Mhm.
and
That's like
Yeah.
the part of the tunnel you can't.
and it leads up to it too. You go from like the regular like graffiti, and then it starts to change gradually until you just hit this exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty lit. Mm-hmm.
So what about like the logistics? How do you decide where to go? Like how often? I think I kind of know this. Like what days?
Every Wednesday at 4,
Yeah.
we meet downtown.
We meet every Wednesday, and then so we go to like 4 camps primarily, and we switch off every 2 weeks.
Wait. 4 camps? So like 2
Mhm.
camps one week, 2 camps another week?
Mm-hmm.
And do
Well,
they
we've been
know?
We've expanded, so then
Yeah.
we're also doing
But then
some
we hit-
parks
we
and
hit
some
places
other
down
spots.
here. We
you
hit
know.
parks, but like tunnels specifically, it's 2 and 2. These like 2 camps we go back and forth,
Yeah.
and then every week we hit around here first.
And there's this thing that getting invited to the camp is of course like the thing.
Mhm.
But there's also this thing that we've learned that certain camps have more of a organized structure, and so we can just go through a couple of people.
Yeah, like
at-
liaisons.
like
and stuff.
liaisons, and they're the the captains for that area, and they'll make sure everyone's taken care of, and they'll distribute the ice and the food, and
Okay,
all
so
the,
you just wham bam. I met you. You're in charge. You take your shit, and I'm out.
Yeah, especially in this
Well,
heat.
no, wait, what did you say?
Like-
Yeah, I mean, well,
No. These they're like organized communities with like leaders and like people who like delegate, like what goes on, people who like enforce things or whatever, So usually it's either a male and female couple or somebody who can embody that divine feminine energy with the sacred masculine, whatever the fuck they call it. That stuff.
that mother
the
vibe.
stuff Will I Am is in
The
trouble for
mother
talking
hen.
about, right?
Their mother hen vibe.
But yeah, somebody who people will respect, and also somebody who has the empathy to understand, those
Mhm.
around them.
When
Yeah.
right? Like when you meet them, you can kind of tell.
Yeah,
I
after a while,
imagine.
Mhm.
You know, it's just the way, you know, bosses recognize each other. You know,
boss recognize boss, man.
You catch it.
Game recognize game. You know, that's all it is. Just like, you know, who's going to take care of people. You know, like you know, working in Vegas. You know, it's like, you know, I only want to work with people that take care of other people. You know, like I'm all about getting my, you know, kickback on everything, but I want to make sure that whoever I'm working with is given the right kickback down the line.
Yeah, well, you don't want to do all of this to have one person hoard it. When you're like, well, I gave you enough for 20 people, like, yeah, sure, maybe you fed 18 and kept 2 for you, but goddamn it, make sure you get it to everybody for the most part.
No, it's like we know these folks, so like,
I'm not trying to micromanage how anyone does it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That's what I mean.
You know, if they flip it, you know, any way they want, you know. But it's just food, you know, and socks and stuff. So it is, you know, people need to exchange things and share things. Like when we go out to like when we couldn't go out to a restaurant, everyone started to have a mental breakdown. This has been a thing that I've been practicing lately, which is bringing a homeless person into a restaurant to order a meal.
Really?
Yeah. It's you know, they have to be warm.
Well, when's the last time they've actually been to a restaurant?
Well, do you remember the first time you went to a restaurant after the shutdown?
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
All right, and you're discombobulated. Now, for a lot of these people, it's the same thing, but it's just been a longer period of time. You know, years. What if that had been years and you were suddenly in a restaurant for the first time? You wouldn't even know how to order.
Yeah.
Right. And this is
like
the thing to not, you know, have the person feel embarrassed or frustrated. You know, you got to like guide them through it. But this is a humanizing thing, an uplifting thing.
Well, that's just raising awareness in a different way, right? Where you're raising their own personal self-awareness.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. Like the personal self-awareness.
Like,
I deserve to eat good foods and socialize and hang out.
Yeah.
You know, and leave a restaurant feeling well fed, like a king.
Feeling uplifted and dignified.
Queen.
I mean, after we do these missions, we get together at Atomic, and you know, we feast and we drink and you know, we have a good time. We're decadent and bougie about it, and we need to be. We should be, because it uplifts our spirit. It helps us do this work. It helps us just go around and overtip and always overtip.
You can't give you unless you're the best you, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. You can't light yourself a fire to keep others warm. You know. All that good jazz. You gotta take care of yourself.
Well, so that kind of, I think, brings me. You guys kind of covered it, so I'll skip that one. What would be some like future goals for expansion? Like a double question there. Like, how can someone interested in helping, like, join your efforts to volunteer? But then also, what are your like future plans for expansion? Like, say you do get a couple volunteers, what would be your plans for them? How would you put them out there? Or like in the case that you were talking about 2 friends, like what would happen if a team of 3 came? What could they accomplish? Since 3 was like the sweet number.
You know what? My super dream is like if every day of the week there was just like, it doesn't even have to be like us, you know, just like a crew of people hit up a local restaurant, pass out food to like this camp once a week. And another crew hits this camp and they get the food from this restaurant.
But it winds up being that people every day get social connection with people looking out for them, right?
If we can hit all these areas, like
people start feeling comfortable, they start talking. They'll be like, "Oh, I have this skill set. Yeah, I would love to get some work like that, you know." And then you know, you can hook them up with some regular work. They're not in so much pain. They're not going to do so many drugs, you know, like, you know, other ones that do. A lot of encampments and tunnels are like, they have like a sobriety rule. That's a common thing.
Yeah.
Because it
really? They make go down to the underground
like
tunnel?
some tunnels are strictly no fentanyl because they are overdoses. You know?
But they might be tolerant of other drugs. And some, but some are, you know, because it's just like.
So there's rules.
Rules matter more in the tunnels than you do above them.
Yeah.
Okay, because people get out of pocket up on the streets, up on street level, but down in the tunnels, no, you can't get too weird.
Like that, man.
You can't. No, that shit
okay,
don't fly.
so not even at
There's a lot of kindness, a lot of politeness, a lot of like etiquette. It's like a big thing.
I've never been to jail myself, but I was actually just talking to a friend. I guess he's a friend. I don't know. Let's just leave it as he's a friend.
Like some guy.
And it's like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. So anyway, so he was telling me how he was still getting used to the like disrespect and how there was more respect in prison and how people followed rules and respect better.
Yeah.
in jail than they do in real society.
Because you need to read people. You know?
Is that the same way down in
Oh
the
yeah,
tunnels?
yeah. Because
Yeah.
you got
Because there's no
people.
rules. They're like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm daddy. If you don't like it, I'm gonna.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
Ain't nobody daddy us like that. It's like, but like, no, it's like, it's rules though, you know.
oh shit. Oh.
Like you know, every
That's
it's
that
like
is
you got-
seriously a way that we like to fuck with people.
Jesus.
Okay, so I'm thinking of a person might go down to the tunnels with like not the wrong vibe, like they're gonna get their shoes taken from them, but just kind of like we're gonna fuck with this guy.
They might be a little stiff.
You know?
Might be a little stiff, you know.
Lure you down and then like jump out and do a jump scare.
I don't know if
just
stiff
fuck
is
with
the
you.
word we should be using yet.
You
But
know, and say what?
shouldn't be using the word stiff yet. That makes sense though.
Yeah, it's just like any group of people.
Yeah. It's like any community, any friend group. Everyone got rules, boundaries. You know.
Except it's a community that like gets
These are,
constantly
like-
turned over by the government and
Yeah.
raided by just and also like weird people that like to attack them for some reason.
These are like straight up communities. I mean,
or
these
just
people,
obnoxious people are
people
like,
been here for
I'm gonna be
years,
here
you
to
know?
help you. I'm gonna give you Jesus and rehab, and
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
it's like
Oh,
dude,
That was
like,
weird.
I
I mean, one time we went on this mission, like this weird cult came out. They didn't bring no food. They didn't bring no water.
They had matching
like
t-shirts.
Did they bring the Bible?
They had matching T-shirts.
I think they
don't-
had stupid pamphlets.
They probably never read the Bible, cults
It was
generally
insane.
don't.
But they just literally came to the tunnels and then like they didn't bring food, they didn't
Yeah.
bring water, and they started preaching about like, yeah, you need to get your life together. Okay, bye.
Wait,
Like what the fuck?
We also
what?
discovered that they were a
Wait,
homophobic
what?
cult that had a compound. See, they had
Yeah.
a program where they're like, we'll help you dry out. We're a rehab.
Mhm.
They probably didn't use that legal wording, but they said that they'll take you out to this compound out in the middle of the desert somewhere, and you have to
That's
sign a
scary as
contract,
hell.
like a
Yeah.
4-month commitment or something like that.
Mhm.
And we help people, with drugs and other problems. I'm like, oh, like being gay, and she's like, yeah. And then it got icy.
And they
because
were
she
all
wasn't
gay.
supposed to.
Oh.
Yeah,
And they were
then
all
we
gay. They
started
were all
looking at.
clearly
We
gay.
were catching the vibe.
They
It
were
was
all
like
clearly
a gay
gay.
conversion
You
cult.
know, it was like, oh my god, y'all
and
was
that's
twisted.
unfortunate because a lot of gay kids get kicked out of their house. So
Yeah.
there's a noticeable population of homeless people that are gay
Like
people that have been
queer.
rejected by their families.
Yeah.
And
Really? So you see a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of that down there?
Oh yeah.
yeah, especially
There's,
and
like,
they get taken care of.
Some queer communities down
yeah.
there. You know.
Trans and
Yeah, trans
and it's like a
persons.
protected. Like certain areas definitely offer more protection in that way.
Mhm.
And there might even be like some queer elder who's got a rainbow beard or something, that you can
Really?
identify like, oh, this is like a safe space, for like,
Mm.
the gay or trans kid that,
No shit.
that got kicked out of his,
So
loving.
they're sometimes
Christian
safer in the tunnels in that community than at home with
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
these,
yeah.
you know what these,
Really? You believe that?
you know what these weird ass
I mean,
religious
community's
nuts do to their
community,
kids?
You know.
Oh no, there's a and
yeah. Religion begin.
Damn.
yeah.
I mean, everyone needs a community, you know. I mean, for real, like.
Yeah, and then also
some
like, what are
kids
you trying
come
to do?
out- Some kids come out gay and trans. They'll be like 15. The parents kick them the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking insane.
Okay, so this brings me to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
Paint us a picture. What is the typical demographic of all of the tunnels? Or is this like what would you say the demographic or demographics? And like how many people do you think are living in there?
I think it's really elderly. Like,
Yeah, it's mostly like
it's
an elderly
mostly-
thing.
it's
Elderly
mostly
people
elderly,
with
yeah.
visible,
Really?
with
Yeah,
visible health
yeah.
problems,
Elderly people.
disfigurements.
They actually they just did a study for
yeah.
California, this
Mhm.
homeless population. Most people are not from out of state. They live there. They're born and raised Californians. A, they got priced out because it's too expensive. And
That
B,
happens.
they're elderly with Social
yeah, the
Security.
majority are like over the age
Most
of
of
50.
it,
Yeah,
you look around, most of these
it's a gray scene.
Yeah.
Do they like hit an age where they couldn't work anymore, but they had nothing saved in retirement? And you're like, well, fuck, I can't work.
or
and
they
can't pay
one,
rent
one
now.
medical bill, one
Mhm.
bad employer. Like when
Yeah.
I went homeless for like about a year, it was because
Oh yeah, it's because this check literally got stolen by this crappy
yeah,
company.
it's just
Damn.
wage
Yeah.
theft. It's
One
just wage
check,
theft.
Straight-
one
yeah.
check,
One
changed
check.
the
It was
whole life.
a
One
fat check,
man.
but
It was gonna
I
be a
banked my
big
life
fat
on
check,
it, right?
too.
It was
Yeah.
gonna like set me up on this next part of my life,
Mhm.
and it got stolen from me along with everyone else I worked with.
Mhm.
Um,
And then they try to like put y'all in jail. They like
you know,
call the
there's
cops.
there's
It
a
was, like,
woman in one of the
crazy.
tunnels that we serve. What rendered her outside was getting attacked, a break-in and entry, and she was stabbed in her wrist, and this created problems, right? She couldn't work, this kind of thing, and
all of a sudden your life, like, how do you work?
A lot of people have this,
for that, you still got rent.
This naive, like, idea of the world where it's like, oh, if something bad happens to you, the court of law will solve it. I never, like lawyers didn't defend me. The court system didn't defend me, and they didn't defend her. And they didn't back her up. She was a victim of a crime, and now she's living in the tunnel because of the bureaucratic
slog
domino effect that she got put into.
You could say the adverse conditions just added up one after another.
Yeah.
Nothing big, just so many small ones. The dominoes finally knocked them all.
Yeah, I mean, in this country, medical debt can wipe you out.
Yeah. Just one sickness or one bad breakup. Bad breakups, women wind up outside a lot because of an abusive relationship, and a lot of these shelters for women in that situation are really not appealing, and they'd rather sleep outside.
Yeah, shelters are usually
some of these shelters are
not very appealing.
Well, most people, do they even feel safe in a shelter?
Right. Like this is they're rife with abuse, especially by certain organizations that I'm not going to name the name of, but they're prominent and they get all the government money. I'll say that.
For no reason.
They're in every goddamn city.
And then they make you sleep on a mat on the outside in 100-something degree heat with a freaking
sweet NGO
barely a
money.
fan blowing on you. But we're
That's
not gonna
gross.
name names.
I mean, we don't get any government money, by the way. So if you want to donate to us,
we're
largely
a ragtag bandit.
largely run it out of pocket, but all the donations boost.
Do you have it on your Instagram?
I have it on our Instagram. Got it on our website.
What is your website?
What is our website?
It should just be holysmokevegas.org.
We just built it.
Yeah.
Or rebuilt it.
Our website's looking bitchin'.
Look at them both on their phone.
Right? Yeah, it's
Well, mine's dead.
It's holysmokevegas.
.org.
Yeah, holysmokevegas.org.
.org.
Org.
Oh, no, that's a close-up.
O-R-G. Close up of them lips.
Okay, well, we're almost out of time, but before we go, what would be a personal reflection? Like, how is this journey of serving the homeless, like, affected you? No, I got a better way of it. How has it changed you both and affected your lives, personally?
Man, personally, I feel like it's really uplifting. Because, like, starting off, taking over this charity, I was like, man, how do we get volunteers? I don't really know what to do, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know I keep passing out the food, but I don't really know, like, who to
How
ask
are you
for
even
help and
picked?
stuff.
How are you guys even
Yeah.
picked?
And then you guys, there is no you guys. Shauna was the one holding it down. She was going down there during the pandemic with Doc and Teresa. Like, she was going in. No. This is I'm on her coattails here.
So you're newer to this then?
Oh, I'm not newer to it. I actually introduced her to it because I seek out things like that, and I was like, tunnels, hell yeah, let's go do that, but I didn't make it like I didn't devote myself to it.
I literally had to quit jobs just to volunteer.
Shauna would not,
Like, I had
Wait,
to
you
fight
quit jobs for this?
Yeah, because I needed these Wednesdays off because we do it every Wednesday, and it's like, okay,
you were willing to
I just
quit
need
work.
this one day off just to do this work. Okay, I work any day, any shift, any hour, but I just need this one day. I had to quit 2 jobs over this because I was like, no, if I don't help people, I'm just gonna go crazy. Like
seriously, it is.
I have to like do charitable stuff. I need to help people. I can't just do work and work. It's not fulfilling for me.
Yeah, and I actually have a hard time like finding people that I like or that I can tolerate. I just find so much incivility and stupidity in the world. It's like unnerving, and I'm also an asshole, so that doesn't help.
Asshole.
But in the tunnels, like we were talking about earlier, there's a higher degree of etiquette. That kind of intelligence. That kind of intelligence.
Okay, so you guys like the respect and discipline stuff.
Yeah, it's a better social environment.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you're both like, it's better right away. You're like, God damn it, it's better.
Human,
and if we could just bring that up, to the surface.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, there wouldn't be anyone living down there.
Would that be so terrible?
If there was no one, yeah, exactly. It is largely just a failing of
like
society.
The whole Utah thing. Would that be
rationally.
so terrible if all of a sudden 90% of them weren't there anymore?
That'd be great. That's
No, yeah,
the
yeah.
end goal.
Yeah.
I would love it if
But that would
if
speak
everyone
to a
was out,
society that was more sophisticated, a
Yeah.
society that
like we're trying to
was
change
kind
the world,
and
man.
intelligent. We're just intelligent,
Yeah.
through kindness. We just got to be
is
smart
that
about
more
it.
like what you would say your end goal? Because you guys were talking pretty happy about how you finally got one person into a house. And yeah, you learned some lessons. You had to do more than like.
Well, we get people in all the
but,
time, you know,
but
it's like a
could
regular.
you be your own Utah first housing?
No.
You don't want to be your own like Las Vegas Holy Smokes first housing?
Housing first, like that's a large.
If you can get all the
that's a
homeless
large
people
systemic
permanent
thing.
housing.
Oh, you want to give me whatever billions or give me $40,000 for every homeless person? I'll make sure they're taken care of real good. They will live better than I do. You know, like if you gave me that like responsibility and that budget, instead of spending $80,000 on the homeless industrial complex. And all the cops and all the emergency room visits and all the like for me as an anarchist, to eliminate homelessness would eliminate a lot of the government. And this is like a big like it's the intelligent thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. It's the rational, self-interested thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, like none of us are eating better because of their suffering. In fact, we don't eat as good because they're down there.
Well, that's just a support system, right?
We need
a
social safety net. I feel like, you know, like if we need the standard of living to go up across the board. If you eliminate homelessness, that improves everyone's living conditions. Because if we can prove that people need housing, food, shelter, and healthcare
It would increase the
as
number
a
of
basic
workers.
right, you know, that affects all Americans. We all need housing. We all need food. We all need healthcare. You know, we all need these support systems.
40% of nationwide, 40% of homeless people are properly employed at a job.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's the thing.
Wait.
People live in their
There are
cars and they
estimates-
still go to
They're
work.
homeless, but they're working?
Yeah.
Yes,
Shauna could do it. I couldn't.
I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When we were living on a boat, I worked 40
I
hours a
didn't have the-
freaking week,
Yeah.
dude. I had to take BART every day. I had to wake up like 5 a.m. every day, take
Yeah.
BART. I had to spend hella money on food.
Yeah,
hella
and
money
it's
on
so expensive
transportation.
being homeless.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
so expensive. You can't even save
Yeah.
money to get out because you have to spend. I had to feed him. I had to feed me. I had to take care of my dad, who was also
Well,
homeless.
it costs more that way, right? Because so
Yeah.
when
And
I
then
go to
they
the
tried
grocery
to-
store,
Oh, yeah, no,
$20
and the
gets
food
me
that you have
out
access to is
grocery
more
store.
expensive, it's less
Yeah,
nutritious.
you have to buy
Um,
fast food all
yeah.
the time because you don't
Yeah,
have a
and it's not
refrigerator.
cheap. It's
You're
not
not going to
fucking
cook
cheap.
your food, you know, and that just it's a money pit. You
Yeah.
know, it's like you're just
It's a
basically
vicious
you're
endless
living to
cycle.
be
Yeah.
stolen from all the time.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and then you're always tired. Oh, and your immune system is weaker, but you have to make money to try to like get out. And
Mhm.
and then California is such a nightmare. It's not just expensive to live there. It's expensive to get out of the damn
Yeah.
state.
Yeah, they won't let you
It's
leave.
expensive
They
to
want to
leave.
tax you on your fucking way out.
You can't even leave the state cheaply, man. Like
A U-Haul is like
it's like thousands of dollars to rent a U-Haul to get out of the freaking place. You know,
it's like $100 you want to take one from here to there, but you know.
Yeah,
it
in
doesn't
the
get
city
you
here and
far.
there.
Why? Because
California
everyone's
very far.
seeing-
it's like insane, you
Yeah.
know. So it's really just like this. It's like you can't win cycle. You get constantly
It's
degraded.
perpetual,
further
right?
And further and
Just
further,
consistently
you know?
keep me down.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
like if we, you know,
So you have to interrupt the cycle. You have
Yeah.
you have to do like a pattern interruption technique, and whatever that is. That's why I like the taking folks into a restaurant. You know, the simple basic restaurant. It's like it interrupts their pattern.
Or
You know,
having
especially
a
before
music
going
session,
into
you know?
especially
No,
before
that's a
going
really
into like
good move.
especially we had a meal with this man before we took him into rehab, you know.
yeah.
Which is great. Like he had like fresh, delicious food. He's like,
And it
super
took a while to get
uplifted.
him into the restaurant too,
Yeah.
because we had to like warm him up to that process. We didn't just immediately throw him in the
Oh yeah,
restaurant.
being in public and everything again, and around people, someone actually.
Being
Yes,
called
sir, no,
you know,
sir,
yeah,
yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen it. I've been real impressed with the effects of during Occupy movement and everything. I was in Oakland at the time.
Mhm.
Occupy Oakland was this huge ordeal, and there was they were serving food to folks, and that's why I fuck with them. I was like, hey, okay, you're feeding people, fine. I don't care what your politics are. Like you're actually like helping the community. That's how I see my like homeless neighbors are being fed, and then I saw my homeless neighbors behind in the kitchen serving people and being told
That's when you know
and,
they're
and
really
being
into
told
it.
like, oh, thank you. They're being thanked by strangers with like sincerity, and this was like hitting them. I could see it.
Oh,
It
because they
never-
haven't had that kind of reception.
Yeah.
So there's one individual I'm thinking of. I had never seen his face. He always had a hoodie draped around it, and he was a cool guy. You know, he's like, hey, you know, get a cigarette. And if I had a cigarette, I'd hit him a cigarette. You know, but I'd never seen his face in years. But then after he started getting thanked, he took his hoodie down. He had like scars all over his face, with like old scars. You know, maybe. And so this was the
guy lived a life.
This was the kind of thing that, you know, relegated him to having to sleep outside, because people are weird about facial scars. And you know, but as soon as he's integrated in a social experience and he's being thanked,
he was able to be more comforting part of the show.
Like he like
that's adorable.
Find yourself,
you know,
that's adorable.
It's like, oh yeah, just like what we do to each other all the time when we go out and we interact, it's very therapeutic. We're constantly helping each other. We do this without thinking about it. We don't congratulate ourselves and think of ourselves as charity workers, but we're always doing charity for folks. We just direct it into a more effective, desperate area and not be scared of it, and not be scared of ourselves, you know, and yeah, you know, just an intelligent application of these things, not so just, you know, willy-nilly let, you know, the government decide what's best, you know.
Yeah, like it's great. California.
Stop trusting the government.
How much California spent multiple billions of dollars, dollars for the homeless in California, and there's more homeless people. How do you have $1 billion that you can't solve a problem? There's no problem on this earth that $1 billion can't solve. I swear to God, that is insanity. Okay, whatever we're doing is not working. Okay, not working. So do the holy smoke way.
I wonder what like $1 billion printed $1 bills if you could actually make housing out of it.
You could make $1 billion homes, literally.
How many houses could you build out of that much cash? I've seen the scale where they show the pallets of like $100 bills stacked. I've never seen nobody do it with ones. With ones? Okay, yeah. Like we could see. It sounds like an art project, right? Too bad they go to the NEA.
Well, so last question then, and then we'll wrap things up. What are the most in-demand supplies or services that the people living in the tunnels need or could use?
Ooh, for sure. Batteries, triples and doubles.
Clothing is always in need.
Yeah, people always need clothes.
Especially
medical supplies. Like, what's it? Moist towelettes and stuff.
Sanitation supplies.
Yes.
But medical supplies, I suppose, yeah.
Sanitation supplies. Like to get people Narcan, fentanyl strips, just to test. And then I was thinking like, chapsticks are good. People need chapsticks for it's hot. Sunscreens. Those are real good.
Doggy treats.
Oh, and we always need a lot of water. Yeah, a lot of water.
Kitty treats.
Dog and cat food. People there's a lot of kitties and puppies.
Yeah, it's kitty season right now.
Everyone's
there are kitties dripping off of folks' necks everywhere we go.
Everyone's got a cat, you know. And then
wait, they all have animals down there?
There's a lot of
people got all types of pets.
And we do what we can for the animals too. As far as like, you know, immunizations and, you know, vets and that kind of thing. So
wait, so you do stuff for the kitties down there too?
Oh yeah, you know, I mean, well, especially cuddle them. I mean, you see kitty, you know, or a puppy. You know,
fuck, man, that's news to me. I didn't know.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a love season for these animals. There's puppies and kitties everywhere. They're like, everyone's got like a new puppy.
Little chihuahuas, a lot of chihuahuas.
Yeah, new kitty.
All over.
So it's super cute. So
long-haired chihuahuas. Long-haired chihuahuas are big down there.
Yeah, like the only ones I could see in like the entire city. I don't see a long-haired chihuahua anywhere. I only know that one dog. You know, but yeah. Yeah, so like batteries, always need batteries, always need water. You know, never have enough water. Sanitation supplies. Feminine products, those are real good.
Feminine products. That makes sense.
Maybe like dry foods too, granola bars, stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we keep the health
we give them hot meals, so we're always like packaged foods if you want to packaged foods.
Food out of a restaurant. Like if you can hook up another restaurant, restaurants get a tax credit, I think it's called. They write it off in their taxes, you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, better, you know, in their hands than the government again. I'm sorry I keep plugging this, but like I just
Oh, sorry.
Get your booty out of my face, you red panda.
Damn, I had no idea. That's actually really cool.
But
Well, you guys want to self-promote yourself before we end it?
Yeah, follow our Instagram, Holy Smoke Vegas. Check out our website, holysmokevegas.org. Consider donating so we can keep doing this mission, man. We never miss a day. Every Wednesday, we're picking up food at 4 p.m. We're having a good time. Passing out food, spreading love, man, building community.
And if you don't have,
if you ever want to come out and just like have your life change forever and like gain a deeper human experience, bro, come on out. You'll never. We have awesome volunteers. Okay, I've never had anyone complain.
Some of these views from some of these tunnels are like entirely unique.
Yeah.
Like
there is one tunnel you can see like the Las Vegas Strip, and it's like they have like this beautiful dugout. Like little
they've done landscaping.
Yeah, they've been
one of the more
landscaping
remote tunnels
for years,
And yeah, it's
like, so us in the tunnel, we got married now.
Oh yeah.
It's on our YouTube,
frequently flooded by the fire department, so there's a lot of greenery. It's a very verdant patch of desert.
A lot of greenery.
Yes.
It also has these weird, like, freaking demon alien plants that, like, can't die. You can't cut the roots out. It grows in this hard dirt. Like, how?
Yeah.
That thing is a freaking alien, bro.
Yeah, no, that's
some alien shit.
That's the thing that's come to end us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the aliens are here, it's that freaking bush.
Or save us.
The aliens are here.
Maybe our benevolent alien overlords will hear this and understand I was always in support.
Yep. That's as we wrap up our show, let's take a moment to reflect on some pretty badass stories, some genuine acts of compassion that are shared here every day by our good friends over here at the Las Vegas.
Thank you for having us on, man.
Where they're still becoming.
It's been too long. Hope to come on
kindness.
again soon. No love.
So big thank you to all you guys that are on the front line over there at the Las Vegas Holy Smokes, making a real difference. Until the next time, thank you for helping make the most of everybody you need. Remember, everybody, take care of yourselves
and
each other.
Get the smack you.
Don't. No. Hey. No. Bye, everybody.
Woohoo.